we've arrived at the last episode on our series on the Eucharist, commenting on St. Thomas Aquinas' treatise in the Summa Theologiae. Wow. Last week, actually, we finished all of the text from the Summa, from his treatise on the Eucharist, so we're not actually going to look at that today. Instead, as a fitting conclusion, I will just share with you this poem or hymn that St. Thomas Aquinas wrote on the Eucharist. Because, so that in itself is worth noting. Like, in addition to very other popular hymns about the Eucharist, like O Salutaris Hostia and Tantum Ergo, both of which we sing at the beginning and end, respectively, of adoration. Like, those are from Thomas Aquinas. So it's worth noting that in addition to all of these like theological texts that Aquinas writes on the Eucharist, he also writes really, really, really beautiful poetry about the Eucharist. That's noteworthy because we don't want to necessarily just have the impression that the Eucharist is something that we can understand cogently and profoundly. Even as important and helpful as that is, that's not meant to be the end. The end is to be united with God and to behold him face to face and to allow the veil of the accidents of bread to be lifted, to be able to be united to him perfectly in the eternal beatific vision of heaven. And the Eucharist is very much the wayfarer's bread, right? It's the help, the aid that God gives to us on this side of eternity that finds its culmination in the perfect communion of heaven. So, with that in mind, I thought I would conclude then by reciting for you this extraordinary hymn or poem of St. Thomas Aquinas's, which, by the way, has been, if you didn't know this, it's been the melody for all of like the intros for these videos. So that's a bit sneaky, I guess. All right, here's the wonderful poem called Adoro te devote. Godhead here in hiding, whom I do adore, masked by these bare shadows, shape and nothing more. See, Lord, at thy service, lo lies here a heart, lost, all lost in wonder, at the God thou art. Seeing, touching, tasting, are in thee deceived. How says trusty hearing, that shall be believed? What God's Son has told me, take for truth I do. Truth himself speaks truly, or there's nothing true. On the cross thy Godhead made no sign to men. Here thy very manhood steals from human ken. Both are my confession, both are my belief, and I pray the prayer made by the dying thief. I am not like Thomas, wounds I cannot see, but I plainly call thee Lord and God as he. This faith each day deeper be my holding of, daily make me harder hope and dearer love. O thou our reminder of the crucified, living bread the life of us for whom he died. Lend this life to me then, feed and feast my mind. There be thou the sweetness man was meant to find. Like what tender tales tell of the pelican, bathe me, Jesus, Lord, in what thy bosom ran. Blood that but one drop of has the power to win all the world forgiveness of its world of sin. Jesus, whom I look at, shrouded here below, I beseech thee send me what I thirst for so. Some day to gaze on thee face to face in light, and be blessed forever with thy glory's sight.